Here you move to England and they have these wonderful stereotypes that every country in the world has, and these cliches. Oh, it's a game of two halves. Yeah, this obviously was. United in that first half, I thought were terrible, almost as bad as I've seen them. I've probably seen them play worse, but certainly under Rangnick, this did not look good. No. David De Gea had to make 2 huge saves. They could have easily been down. And then they come out after the break, and there's like a rocket up their backsides, and they score 3 times.
That's a fair summary, Gab. I think they were abject in the first half completely, collectively, individually, the mistakes they made, how much they allow Brentford to put them under pressure with the intensity and everything. And without De Gea, once again, I mean, how many times have we said that this season? But without De Gea, they could have easily been 2, maybe 3-0 down. The second half was much better. I think they benefited from Brentford's dropping the intensity a bit, and also when you score so early in a second half, like the Elanga goal, which is a wonderful goal, by the way, the ball from Fred, but the first touch and the finish from the youngsters, then I think it helps you a lot, because I do think that Brentford are not the same at all when they're behind. Not that they give up, but it's just that already they were on their way down physically. That put even them more down, and then you scored the second pretty quickly after that too. So it was much better from United for sure in the second half. But again, they could not have been worse than the first half.
Augie, when I look back at this game and I look at which Manchester United players stood out, it was funny because for me, arguably the 3 best players. I know I was watching on BT Sport and they said McTominay was a monster and he was outstanding. They did a good game, I don't think, but McTominay's one of those guys who's in that category because he's homegrown, and I also think because he's British, that when he does well, he gets more praise. But he did fine. But the guys who stood out were Diogo Dalot, Fred, and Elanga. Now, we're going to get to Elanga in a minute, but I wanted to ask you about Fred because he's kind of been this figure of fun at Manchester United among many fans and the media. But he's one of those guys that even through the ups and downs of Rangnick, I think he's actually played quite well. Is it a case that this is one player who's benefited from this manager?
Yeah, I think there's more than one. I think you mentioned Dalot. I think Dalot's benefited too. I think Fred's always going to divide opinion because he does have this tendency to lose control of the ball quite quickly, and he's not very kind of slick on the ball, shall we say. But I think,
well, unlike McTominay, who's a second peer.
Listen, I agree. I think McTominay has qualities, but I think he needs to be coached better to, accentuate those qualities and avoid the propensity to get booked very often, to kick people too often. I think Fred's a classic case. If he had gone to Man City when they were looking for him, I think we'd have been raving about Fred now. What a great player in that City team, just a cog in that team. At Man United, he's probably asked to do more than he's capable of doing, and he stands out at times for the mistakes that he makes. But I think the mistakes that he makes are often good mistakes in the sense that he will try to make a forward pass, try to be ambitious with it, and not try to hide with an easy sideways pass or a backwards pass. I just think Fred is a good player in a poor team, and I think sometimes those players can be exposed for looking worse than they actually are. I just think he's surrounded by players that aren't quite good enough.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.